All right, so your warm-up was from the notes. I don't know if you noticed. How come it's not here? Oh, is it here? Oh, yeah, here it is. So from your notes, it's right here. It's number 2 in your notes. Okay, so we're going to get a square, PQRS, with those vertices, and we're going to rotate it. Now, we didn't do a full rotation. If you noticed, on Friday, we just did 1 point. For 90, we'll go back to this problem and finish it. So let's see, can we do this one? So first things first, just plot the original figure, right? If you don't know what to do, if you don't know what to flip over or how to change, if you look at this and go, Mister, I forgot how to do this, I forgot the rules, or, oh, I forgot we did have those, I didn't even look at those. The first thing you can do is you can at least put this square, right? You can at least put this square here, right? And I'm looking, and some of you didn't even do that. Right? Some of you didn't even do that on the warm-up. At least put the square. If you forgot how to do the 180, 90, 270, at least put the square. So let's see. We have P, which is at 2, 6. So those of you that don't know how to plot, 2, 6 means I start at the origin. I go 2 on the x-axis and 6 on the y-axis. Right? So there is P, which is 2, 6. Q, which is 6, 5. There's Q, which is 6, 5. And I like to put the coordinates of the point next to it, next to the point, because we're going to be doing it with either, remember, you all notice, maybe you forgot, but you all notice they either flip and one of them change signs, or they stay the same and both of them change signs, something like that. So I like to put the points there. So R is 5, 1. So let's plot that. 5, 1 is R. R. That's our pirate point. And then we have S, 1, 2. Excuse me. S is 1, 2. S is 1, 2. Okay. And then if we connect the dots, we see that's our figure. So we can, in our imagination, right? We can see that we're going to get this whole figure, right? We're going to get this whole figure and rotate it 180 degrees. So it's going to be over here. Right? Each quadrant is 90 degrees. So if I'm going to go 180, that means I'm going to get it here, and I'm going to, right, 180 degrees. Like imagine this is a skateboard, and that's half a flip. That's a full rotation, right? Okay, so how do we do that? Well, let's go back. Let's go back to our rules, and let's look at the 180 degree rule. When I rotate a figure 180 degrees, what do I do to the points? Something happens to the points. I did it in words, and then I did it in this little notation right here, right? So the words say, for each point, the x and y coordinates. Let me get some water. All right. For each point, the x and y coordinates stay in the same place. So we're not flipping them. They stay in the same place. And the x and y coordinates change signs. They go to the opposites. So this little notation says my original point, that's x and y, changes to x and y stay in the same place, but each one, that means is opposite. That negative sign means opposite. So let's do that. So they're going to stay the same. So let's make our new P. Our P is 2, 6. That means P prime would be, oh, does it say clockwise? It doesn't say either. Ooh, so before we do this, someone says, Mister, it says clockwise. It doesn't say either. You notice that? Good job in the chat. So before we even change this, which we looked at the rule, how come over here it says 90 degrees counterclockwise? Over here it says 270 counterclockwise. But if I look at 180, it doesn't say clockwise or counterclockwise. Why is that? Ooh, that's a great point to bring up in the chat. Anybody? Because it's the same either way. Duh. Think about it. If I'm right here and I go 180 degrees counterclockwise, I'm over here. If I go 180 degrees clockwise, I'm over here. Right? 180 is half a turn, so it doesn't matter which way I turn. Watch. I think I got to take out my headphones. Watch. So I'm going to turn 180 degrees. Okay. I turn to my right. You still saw the back of my head. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to turn to my left 180 degrees. Still see the same thing. So yeah, 180 degrees doesn't matter clockwise or counterclockwise. You're going to end up in the same. 270, it matters, right? 270 matters because you're going like this. If I go 270 this way, I'm right here. If I go 270 this way, I'm over here. Right? So 180 is the same either way because it's only halfway. Make sense? So 180 doesn't matter with the direction because you're only going halfway. Good point to bring up. The 90 and 270 do matter because if I go 90 this way, I'm over here. If I go 90 this way, I'm over here. So 180 is the only place, the only one where you end up in the same place. Okay. So P is 2, 6. So that means P prime. That means P prime. We can write it right here. That means P prime would be -2, -6. So let's do that. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That means P prime is down here. So that's all we do. We just get the points and we look at the rule. And the rule says if we're going 180, just keep the X and Y in the same spot, but just make them opposite. Make them opposite. So Q prime would be what? It's 6, 5. Q is 6, 5. So Q prime would be -6, -5. Let's put that. Oops, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's my Q prime. Okay, so that's all I'm doing. So I'm changing each point. R prime would be what? R prime would be what? Well, R is 5, 1. So R prime would be, just change the signs, -5, -1. And S prime would be, well, S is 1, 2. So S prime would be -1, -2. Good job. Good job. So let's plot those points. -5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, -1. That's R prime. And then S prime is -1, -2. And if you connect the dots, you can see that's exactly what we get. We get a rotation. And so I don't have to write them down here, right? Do you want me to write them down here? I mean, you wrote them here, so that's fine. All right, I'll give you a minute to copy that. Any questions before we move on? Okay, so let's go back to number 1. Number 1, we have triangle ABC, and we're rotating it 90 degrees counterclockwise. So I did 1 point, right? I just wanted to look at 1 point and do the rule. And what was the rule? The rule was for 90 degrees counterclockwise. Here's the rule. The rule was, in words and in notation, for each point, the X and Y coordinate switch places, and the original Y changes signs. Okay, so this is what it looks like. My original point changes to, you see the X and the Y switch places, but the former Y, which is now the new X, turns opposite. And that's it. So I just put an opposite in this first number over here. I switched these, and I put an opposite sign right here. And we saw the pattern. We did that. And so when we go over here, we did that for A prime, this was 2, 7. 2 and 7 switch places. And then this one just got put opposite. Right? So let's do the same thing with B. B is 6, 5. Oh, let's actually do B. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's my original B. 6, 5. And then my original C is 4, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, so there's my original figure. And I'm rotating it 90 degrees, so that means counterclockwise, so that means I'm going over here, so that means my new triangle should be in here, because I'm only going 90 degrees. So I did my A. My A was -7, 2. All right, what's B? So B prime would be what? B prime would be, I switch the numbers, So the 5 goes first and the 6 goes second. And then the old y turns opposite. So that becomes negative 5. Right? These two switch places. So the 5 is first now and the 6 is second. And then the former y, or the old y, or the first one here, turns opposite. So now b prime is negative 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's my new b prime, negative 5, 6. And then my new c, or c prime would be, well, let's look at what c is. C is 4, 1. So c prime would be, flip them. Right, flip them. So that becomes 1 and then 4. And then the first one becomes opposite sign. So negative 1, 4. Negative 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's my c prime, which is negative 1, 4. If I put those together, there you go. Okay, I'll give you a chance to copy this, and I will take any questions. So all you need to know is which direction you're going and how far you're going, 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 270. And just look at the rule. Right? Just look at the rule. How do you change each point? All right, any questions? Any questions? Yeah, this is key. This is key. The key is to know. This is key. I don't know if you've noticed this. I don't know if you've noticed this, guys. But every time we take notes, there's always a big piece of notes, right? There's a piece of your notes that if you know that piece of your notes, you basically know the entire lesson, and you can do almost any problem. In this case, it's these rules. These are the only 3 ways we're rotating. Okay? So for rotating these, here's how you change each point. In Word, I did it for you twice. I did it for you in words, and then I did it for you in a little notation to show you how the points change. Okay, so if these are confusing, if you're confused about the rules, you can ask me now and I can explain them again, or you can go back to the videos from last week. You can go back to the videos from last week and check them out. But you can always ask me. You can always send me a question in Schoology, again, anytime. This weekend, it took me a while to answer some of you, and I apologize for that. Some of you sent me messages on Friday, and I did not check my messages all weekend, right? I didn't give you homework this weekend, so I apologize. But some of you did send me messages, and I'm sorry it took me so long to return your message. But usually I return them right away or the next morning if it's really late. Yeah, some of you are up really late. Some of you send messages in Schoology like midnight, 1 in the morning. I'm probably not going to answer at that time, but if it's that late, I will answer it next morning as soon as possible. All right, so here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to try a 270. I'd like you to try number 3. Okay, I'll give you 4 minutes to try that. Try as much as you can go. Okay, look at the rule and rotate that 270 degrees counterclockwise. So I'll give you 4 minutes. So we drew the original figure in blue, and then we looked at the rules. Just to recap, we looked at the rules and saw 270. What do we do for 270? We get the original point, and we switch the x and y, but now the old x, or the new y, becomes negative. The second one becomes negative. And so that's what we did for each point. We looked at j, 3, 4, and we switched it to 4, negative 3. And because the 3 becomes negative because it's the new y, the old x. We got k prime, which is 6, 4. We switched it, became 4, 6, and then the 6 became negative. We got L, 8, 1. L prime was 1, 8. Then the 8 became negative. And then we got M, and to get M prime, we switched it from 1, 1 to 1, 1, and then the second one became negative. Plotted those points, and the new figure is the red figure. Any questions? All right, so we're going to have a little activity tomorrow. I'm probably going to put you in some breakout rooms tomorrow. We're going to do some activities, finish some classwork tomorrow, and then the homework will be due tomorrow. You can start the homework tonight. But it's not due till tomorrow night. And then tomorrow we'll have an activity to practice this. And then what do you say? Quiz on Thursday? Quiz on Thursday on this? That sounds good. Sounds good. Quiz on Thursday. So tomorrow we'll have an activity to practice rotations. We'll talk about what happens when they ask about clockwise. How do we change that to counterclockwise? Because we only want to know 3 rules. We don't want to learn 6 rules, right? Our brain space is precious. It's filled with jingles that we don't care about. So we'll do that tomorrow. So you can start the homework tonight, and we'll finish it up tomorrow. Any questions? No? All right, guys, take care.